Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thanks for clicking on this video. Really appreciate it. Welcome back to Queen Aisha's Vibes. If you have been here for before, welcome back. And if this is your first time, welcome. Okay. So today I just wanted to do a quick video, just talking about this spiritual awakening that has been happening, and some signs to pretty much signs that you're having a spiritual awakening and what this spiritual journey really is, or what it means to me, or I resonate with. I just wanted to share my experiences because I am in my spiritual awakening process, or going through this journey. One thing that I do want, it's just a few things that I guess I wanted to touch on, because I do get questioned a lot, like friends and family and different things like that. Um, just because people are curious to see like what's going on with me. And I'm not trying to hide it by any means. I do want to share, and that's something that I've always struggled with, is voicing my thoughts and my opinions and stuff like that, and really being comfortable with sharing how I feel and sharing what I'm going through and things like that. So this is all a part of my process, as well as me documenting. So this is why, another reason why I wanted this channel to be a form of documentation, me documenting my journey, documenting my growth. So I just wanted to just touch on a few things. So first, what I feel is a spiritual journey or a spiritual awakening. First thing that I want, that I have realized, is that we are already on a spiritual journey, if that makes sense. We were born on a spiritual journey. Like, we are spirits. We are not these bodies. We are spirits having a human experiences. So when we were born, that's when our spiritual journey started. That's why this is an awakening. Yeah, it's an awakening, because your spirit is already on this journey. You're just awakening that part to remember what you came here for, and to remember, that there's other things that need to be done besides like this everyday, like mundane stuff, right? So, when I had my spiritual awakening, I it was definitely a process, but it was something that was always in me. That's why I felt like it came so easy for me to for things like to fall in place for me, per se. It's for me, it started with, I guess, becoming woke, right? Quote unquote woke. When I started to realize what racism was, what systematic racism was, what systematic oppression was, I started to realize this matrix that we're in, and how we have been brainwashed generation after generation after generation to fall into these traps, right? We are at war. There's a spiritual warfare going on, and it's been happening for many years, many ages. Um, there's a lot of things going on in the planet right now, or whatever, but these things became visible to me. I became conscious of these things. So then I started to question pretty much everything, especially when it came to tradition and religion and things like that. That was one of the first things that I questioned, because it was like, okay, if I know that, we are this systematic racism, is going on in this country, and our people have been oppressed for years and years and years, and for so long that we couldn't even read. It was like we would get killed for reading, but yet the only book that you wanted us to read that we could have was the Bible. So that was something that really stood out to me, and I wanted to learn more about it. I want to know, like, okay, what's really going on here. It was this one book that I read that really set it off for me, after, like, being woke, and like going through the the Black Power phase, I would say. I'm still super pro Black. Like, I love everything about being who I am. Like, don't get me wrong. But I did have to go through that phase where it was, like, first it's like, okay, I'm for my people, like, fuck everybody, fuck the system, all of that. I went through all of that. And Christianity was one of those things that I rebelled against because I felt like it was fed to us by the system. Period. Okay. Whether you believe that or not. And I do want to say that Christianity, a lot of the stuff in Christianity, like, I don't knock it 100%, or I mean, like, I'm not a Christian, but there are things in the Bible and, like, different things that come from truth. So it's like half truth and half lies. So it's like it's a little bit of both. You just have to be able to dissect it and read between those lines and actually get out of it what was meant, what it was meant for. And like, not to let it rule you or rule your life. Like, people like live in fear because of the Bible. But anyway, so that was a part of my journey. Once I started realizing, about that Christianity wasn't for me. It never felt right. Um, I read a book. It's called Slave Religion. I forgot the author of the book, but it's a really, really old book, and they had like new editions of it, like they rewrote it and stuff like that because it was so old. But I had got it from a library, so I don't have it now. I had gave it back a while ago. But pretty much this book, where they interviewed old slaves or ex-slaves, pretty much just to see who remembered what, or what religion did they remember before they became enslaved, before this epidemic happened, before this Christianity took over. Like, what did they remember? Did they worship Jesus? Did they have Christianity? And no, they didn't. This is what they discovered after interviewing so many people. And then, like, they all had like this common belief system where, yeah, there is a God, and they believed in God. Like, there is a high God, a high power, the creator, the universe, right? That created all of this. They also believed in what we would call like demigods. So like the smaller gods that's like, like rulers of different things. So you have like Isis, and you have Heru, and you have Oshun, and all these different gods and goddesses that have these different areas of influence, right? Which are all different aspects of ourselves. So all these different areas of influence, there were these different gods and different deities that they, would not worship per se, but that they would give reference to, that they would give offerings to, that they would work with, because they felt like that the creator, the all, the high God, like he would be too busy to partake in the mundane everyday, life, because it's like, so he got so much other shit to do, or whoever that the creator has so much to do. And then there were also the ancestors, which a lot of them, their traditions, they believe that the ancestors were almost more important, if not just as important as the gods themselves, because your ancestors are the middle link between you on earth, man on earth, and the gods in heavens and the gods in the other realms. Your ancestors are the ones, that know the secrets of the universe, know the secrets of life, that can communicate for you to these deities, to these gods, to get shit done in everyday life, whether it was protection, love, just learning simple stuff like how to heal yourselves, and just all of these different things. They had all of these different deities for all of these specific reasons. And that book really, like, it really opened my eyes to some things, and it made so much sense to me. Like, for some reason, it resonated with me, and I didn't even know what deities was at that time, and that was like 3 years ago. I didn't even know what deities was, but it made sense to me because it was like, I don't know, it resonated. And I don't know if that was because that's something that was always in me. But yeah, and that's where it started from. So I just started researching from there, and yeah, and that's pretty much how it went. It was like, this had to been, I want to say in 2000, like the end of 2016, 2000, going into 2017. So about 2.5, maybe 3 years going on, like 3 years. Yeah, but it has definitely been a journey that I am so blessed. Um, I'm so blessed to even be able to be in this mental space to know what's going on, because a lot of people don't know what's going on with themselves. Um, but one day they'll get there. Everybody is going to get there eventually. Whether if it's not in this lifetime, it'll be the next. So that's the thing about life. You get the chance to get it. That's what incarnation is about. Reincarnation. You get another chance to get it right. So that's just a little background of my spiritual awakening, um, and what happened with me and how I got to where I am. I'll speak a little bit more about it, but I do want to pretty much go over a few signs to let you know that you are having a spiritual awakening. Okay. So remember, first thing, remember though, you are already on a spiritual journey. You are the spirit. When you were born, your journey started. Right now, or whatever it is, that whenever this happens, whenever this resonates with you, wherever you may be in your lifetime, now you're having an awakening. You're awakening that spirit. You're awakening your DNA. Okay. So just remember that you are already the spirit. You are already on the journey. Okay. So the first thing is you start to question your traditions and your religion. So that was the first thing for me. Started to question my tradition, started to question my religion. And this could manifest in a lot of different ways. It could be, like like for me, for example, like some stuff just never really sat well with me, or some, like, whenever I because I grew up Christian, right? My whole family is Christian. Yeah, whole family is Christian, still Christian. So it's like a lot of the stuff we were forced to do, had to do. Of course, get up, go to church every Sunday, or whenever Mama was going to church, we was going to church, pretty much. But it was things that, like, even back then, like as a child, like I would question, like small things, like, okay, like even like stuff in the Bible, like for example, like how God made the world in 7 days, or how come um you know every little thing I questioned. Trust me, I questioned. I asked, and every time I asked, I would be told that it was a sin to question the Bible. I was told that all the time. I was told that we shouldn't question it. Don't question it. Just believe, and that didn't sit well with me as a kid. Like, how did Noah get all them animals on that boat? Don't question the Bible. It's a sin to question God. That means that you don't believe in God, or are you going against God? No, I just want to know how. Like, why you can't answer my question? Simple as that. But yeah, you start to question things, and you start to go against the grain. You start to realize that things that have worked for years is programming, and you start to have a different perspective or a different outlook on life, if that makes sense. So you start to look at things differently from a different perspective, right? Yeah. So you start to see shit for what it is, okay? Like, yeah, period. You just start to see shit for what it is. And you start to rebel against these things that were trained, that were so, like, pushed heavily on you, like, especially like when you were young and stuff like that. Like, and it usually happens like whenever you really, I guess, like, break away from your parents. So like for me, when I was old enough to make the decision of that I didn't want to go to church, that's when I stopped going. And that wasn't until I moved away from home. Like, me and my sister had ended up getting our own place or whatever. This was shortly after my father passed away. So we all had, we had got our own apartment and stuff like that or whatever. And I was going, because, my sister was still going and we were still in that habit, that routine of, like, okay, we're going to go to church. And mama at that point was expecting us to like come to show up like, okay, yeah, you don't live in my house no more, but I expect you to be at church on Sunday. That didn't last for long. I swear, that did not last for long, because it was like, I was always waiting for the moment where I did not have to go to church, when nobody was waking me up, making me go to church. And that's how I knew it was something about it that it wasn't for me. It wasn't for me. And I believe in God, and I believe in, higher powers and all of that stuff. It's just that way, or that structured traditional, that structured mindset, that didn't work for me. Yeah, I needed answers. I needed answers, and they ain't having the answers for me. But yeah, so it's like that's kind of like one of the first signs when you start to question tradition, question your religion. Like you start to pretty much like, that's kind of like when it's like a crack in the matrix. You start to see shit, like it like breaks up like the foundation, shake it up a little bit so you can start to see a little clear, or at least you gain at least the courage to question it, because some people don't even have the courage to question it. Yeah, some people don't have the courage to question it, but that's one of the first signs. And I did write this down. I wrote a few what's names down here too. So one of the second sign, I would say this is the second sign, and this is just what I wrote from like my experience and stuff like that. So don't take this as like the end all be all, because it's a lot of different things that people can experience as a as a spiritual awakening that I haven't experienced myself, but it's still considered a spiritual awakening. Whatever awakens your spirit and gets you to like heading on that right track, or that path, like to higher consciousness, whatever that is that awakens your spirit to get you on that path, that's the spiritual awakening. Okay. So, another sign that you are having a spiritual awakening, is that you may be like an outcast, or you may be like black sheep in your family, or like you just never really like fit in a way. Like you may have friends, but they really don't get you on a level where you want them to get you, or they really don't like understand you like that. So you may be somebody who who probably don't have a lot of friends, to be honest. Yeah, you probably don't have a lot of friends. You probably have like a handful of friends or some shit like that. Or if you do have a lot of friends, you're getting to a point where you're wanting to disassociate yourself from certain people, may wanting to spend more time alone just to figure out like, okay, you feel like something is going on, but you don't know what it is, so you're just gonna stay in the house type shit. So yeah, like, so you may be a loner, or you may be finding yourself by yourself a lot. And that's okay, because that's where shit happens. That's when spirit can speak to you a lot, when you're by yourself. When your mind is clear and you're not, being influenced by outside energies and things like that. The third thing that I wrote down is seeing synchronicities. Synchronicities is things that happen to you frequently. Like one of the most common synchronicities is seeing repeating numbers. This started with me a couple years ago. And like at first, like when I was, first started like my awakening process, like I was, watching videos on YouTube and different things like that, and like reading, and I was hearing about this, like what is these synchronicities that people are talking about, like these angel numbers and all of that. I wasn't seeing any of that. Like from what I can remember, the only numbers that used to repeat to me was my birthday. I used to see 302 all day long, every day, all day, every day, all day, on everything. It could be receipts, it could be license plates, it could be phone numbers, it could be the time, all the time. It was most of the time, it was the time, but it was everywhere. I would see my birthday all the time. So I'm like, what is this? Why am I seeing my birthday all the time? And then yeah, so I was seeing my birthday. Sorry. My okay, whatever. So yeah, I was seeing my birthday all the time at first, right? So then I started so I was like, okay, well, I'm not seeing, like the angel numbers, like the 123, like the 1111, 222, all of that stuff. So I thought, like something was wrong. Like, okay, maybe, the universe isn't speaking to me in that way. So I was getting, like a little kind of worried. So then I realized, I'm like, okay, well, they are speaking to me. They're just not speaking to me in that type of way, like the way that I'm looking for it. But whole time, my birthday that I was seeing, 302, that actually meant something to me. That actually, it really did. So when I ended up looking it up, I found out that, when you see your birthday all the time, repeat it, your birthday is a reminder from your spirit guides, from the universe, to do what you were born to do, not to try to fit in with anyone else, not to try to be into anyone's standards, but to be your authentic self and to be who you were born to be. So it's a reminder of who you are. And I was being reminded of who I was a lot. I was being reminded of who I was a lot. So when I seen that, and I was like, oh wow, like I was like, damn. Like, because I didn't think it meant nothing at all. Like, I just thought, like, damn, it's my birthday. And every time I would see my birthday, I would say, it's my birthday, like, happy birthday to me. Like, that's what I would say. Like, I would really, like, get turned up when I see my birthday on the clock. I'd be like, hey, it's my birthday, y'all. And they'd be like, what? Because it's 302. But whatever. Anywho, so yeah, that was one of the first synchronicities that I recognized. And then after I realized that that's what that meant, that's when everything else started to flood in. And when I say flooded, like they flooded me. I was seeing numbers everywhere. Like I was seeing 1111, 222, 444, 333. Like I was seeing so many angel numbers all the time, like everywhere, nonstop, all day. It was just like, it was amazing to me, because it was like, that's what I was wanting to see, because I was like, I wanted to know if it was real, kind of thing. And it's definitely real. Like, and synchronicities come in more than just, like numbers. It don't have to be that. It could be animals. It could be certain type of animals that like attracted to, or are attracted to you. Like cats or birds or some shit. Like, like you might have dreams about birds, and then you end up seeing a bird, like that morning when you wake up, or something like that. Like for me, for instance, I see birds all the time. I see crows all the time. And usually I feel like it's like spirit guides, like my protection, because they usually be out like really early in the morning, like when I'm leaving out for work and different stuff like that. They always, crowing, and they always loud. So they want me to notice that they're there. But yeah, I see crows all the time. Different animals are starting to like pop up. But anytime you see these things, so if you seeing like a number repeating, look it up. Look up. I mean, shit. Google it. Goddamn it. Angel numbers. Like if you seeing, even if it's not a repeated number, it could be a number that's special to you. So like if whatever number that you may be seeing, like even if it's not your birthday, like you just seeing this random ass number, all the time. So like for example, I was seeing another number, 713, all the time, and I was like, okay, that's my sister and my brother's birthday. So I would always, like relate the two. When I see that birthday or see 713 on the clock, I will relate it to my brother and my sister, like, oh, it's their birthday, or whatever. Something to have to do with them, right? And that's what I always used to think. But no, I looked it up, because it was like, okay, what is this 713? I was seeing it all the time. But I looked it up, and it was a message, pretty much. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was a message for me, and it resonated with me when I read it that day. It was pretty much telling me that I was supported by my spirit guides, and that, like, they hear, like, my prayers, and, all my wishes, and they see all the hard work that I've been putting in. So it's like they are around, they are supporting me. So that was a message for me, and that was something that I needed to hear at that time. So, and I still see that number all the time. So this is just what I'm just trying to tell you. Like, it don't have to be like the original, or, like the common synchronicities that you always hear about. So it don't always have to be, like repeating numbers. It could be names. Like, it could be a name of your spirit guide and you don't even know. Like, you keep running into people with the same name, or you keep hearing a certain name or something like that. It could be anything, but the thing is just to pay attention, because when you start this awakening process, things are going to start happening. And I promise you, it's going to make you start paying attention to the small details of things. And this is how you're going to start noticing these things. Okay. Your eating habits may change. So that's another thing. It's kind of like your body is pretty much like trying to catch up with your spirit in a way. Yeah, trying to like oh shit. Okay, yeah, trying to like catch up with your spirit in a way. Or it's just like your body just starts to reject certain things. Yeah. You may not know why. Like, you may shit just may not taste the same to you. Like, you may just out of nowhere want to start eating healthy, right? And as we all getting older, everybody realizing that it's time for us to start eating healthy anyway. So that's something that is like, it's common, but you may not look at that as something that's a part of a spiritual awakening, but it is, because as within, so without. Like, everything that happens with our physical bodies is a manifestation of what happens with our spiritual bodies. And as get further along in the process, you'll understand how important it is to take care of your physical body, because this is your vehicle that you use to drive through, this dimension, right? So yeah, you got to keep it up. You got to take care of it. You have to maintain your health, maintain your strength, maintain your vitality, you know, because we got shit to do, right? So yeah, your eating habits may change. Not saying that you um got to be a vegetarian or nothing like that, because I'm not a vegetarian, but I have a goal, or like I would like to even to try a vegetarian lifestyle, but it is hard. It is hard, and I'm not gonna lie, because I love chicken, and that's just the truth. But I know for a fact that it's no good for me. So it's like I have cut down a little bit, and like when I do cut down, I definitely do see signs. Like one time I even stopped eating meat for like whole 2 weeks, just to do like a sort of a fast, to keep my spirit light and my body light, because it was like work that I was trying to do at that time, some spiritual work that I was trying to do, and I definitely did see a difference. So you will definitely notice a difference. Yeah, you'll definitely notice a difference when you take care more, when you pay more attention to your body. Pay attention to what your body is telling you, because that's your spirit talking to you, like using your body, because otherwise you're not going to listen, right? Another sign is that you crave, I won't even say you crave, but you just, you okay with being by yourself. You okay with being alone. Sometimes you want to be alone. Sometimes you don't feel like kicking it. Sometimes you don't want to go out. You don't want to call the girls. You don't want to, lay up. You don't want to do any of that. You just want to be by yourself. And this may be kind of like alarming or kind of scary to a person that's not used to being by themselves, that's used to having people around, or always having somebody to talk to, just having people. Like, you may not be used to being by yourself, but all of a sudden you're wanting to be alone, or you're finding yourself in situations where you're forced to be alone. Where you're forced to be alone, or maybe, I don't know, Cause like for me, I'm always been alone. Not alone per se, but like lonely per se. But I don't have many friends. I've never had many friends, so it was like this is something that I'm used to. I'm used to going into a shell, or like going into my zone where I can, it's just me and I'm doing whatever it is that makes me happy at that point, whether it's like coloring or drawing. Like when I was little, like I used to draw and color all the time, or like go off on like walks and collect sticks and rocks and flowers and leaves and shit. Like that was the weird shit that I used to do when I was little. Um, but yeah, but it definitely comes into fruition now that I'm grown, because a lot of the things that I do now is like me tapping into my inner child. But anywho, I'm used to being, spending time by myself. So it's nothing for me to like cancel plans. I'm sorry, but it's nothing for me to cancel plans, or to not answer my phone, or to like unplug from social media and stuff like that. It's so easy for me to do that because I'm like a loner by nature. Yeah, I have friends, but I'm a loner. Anywho, or I would say like I'm used to not having a lot of people around me. Okay, and I'm a Pisces, so I am what they will call the extreme escapist. An escapist, like I can easily go into another mode, another zone. Like we could be sitting here in the same room face to face, and I will be somewhere else while like we hearing this conversation, but like my mind is gone. Like I'm somewhere else completely, like in a whole different dimension, some freaking where. So that's super easy for me, because it's like that's who I naturally am anyway. Yeah, so I'm always by myself, but you may be wanting to be alone, and that's perfectly fine, because that's when a lot of self-realization comes into place. That's when you can hear spirit, you can speak to spirit, you're comfortable, you can do what you want, you can dance around, like you can talk to yourself, you can be naked, who gives a fuck, like whatever it is that makes you feel like 100% authentically you can do that when you're by yourself. All masks are off at that point, so you're 100% yourself, and spirit knows who you are. So when you're in your purest form and being 100% yourself, spirit is right there along with you, because that's when you connect to your higher self, when you are being 100% yourself. Okay. um Another thing, having weird dreams, remembering your dreams, and like remembering like different things from your childhood. So remembering your dreams, having weird dreams. So during a spiritual awakening process, your spirit is literally it's kind of like it's trying to break through. So a lot of activity is going to take place while you're sleeping in your dream state, because that's when your spirit is free. um so when you start to go through this awakening, it's kind of like you're connecting more with your consciousness, you're connecting more with your higher self. And what are we are spirits, we are our consciousness. So you connect to that in your dream state, and so you may have weird dreams of you traveling to different places, being around, people that you never would be around, like shit that just out of the ordinary weird, like you may travel back in time, back in the future. I mean, travel back in time, travel into the future, like you may be able to visit people in your dreams and different things like that, and astral project. And you may not know what all of these things is, but it's something going on. So you like, what the fuck is happening right now? So you feel different, and you starting to like notice everything. So you're trying to figure out like, okay, is it a reason behind this? Because now at this point, because you're noticing everything, you feel like it's a reason for everything. And that's a part of the spiritual awakening process too. You feel like it's a reason for everything, and that's because there is a cause and effect to everything. This is one of the laws of the universe, the law of cause and effect. um this happened, now this is going to happen. So it's like we want to figure those things out. So yeah, you may have a more active dream state. um yeah, you probably never even remember your dreams, or not used to remembering your dreams, but all of a sudden you're starting to remember your dreams. um so definitely, if you are remembering your dreams, write them down whenever you can, whenever you remember them. Usually, like as soon as you get up, try to write down your dreams. This will help you. This will help strengthen your dream memory. And then it helps you reflect and go back, because a lot of times we will forget our dreams like after a day, or so. Sometimes like after like a few minutes, a few seconds after waking up, to be honest. Because that used to happen to me a lot, and it still happens sometimes. Like sometimes I'll have a dream, and it seemed like it was some dope ass shit going on, and then as soon as you wake up, it's like, wait, what the fuck? Where was I at? Like, what was going on? Like, I know something was happening, but I can't remember it for the life of me. And sometimes I do be feeling like some of our dreams are not meant to be remembered, because it's so sacred, or maybe because, like, you were somewhere where you're not supposed to bring that information back to this reality or back to this dimension. So that's how I look at it sometimes. But I definitely do try to write down the dreams that I remember. Try to keep a notebook close to your bed. So as soon as you get up, you can write down, whatever it is you remember from your dream. And it may make sense, when you go back and relook at it, you know, later on or whatever. Yeah, you may be predicting some shit, and then, like, damn, I remember I had a dream about this, and you go back in your journal 3 months ago, you had a dream about this. You never know. So yeah, definitely do that, because that will definitely strengthen your spirit, and it'll strengthen your dreams as well, because it's like you'll get in the mode of remembering. So it's kind of like you training your body to remember your dreams by writing them down. Okay. um Deja vu, feeling like places, people, or events are familiar to you. So deja vu, having deja vu a lot. I have deja vu a lot.